So this is lesson 11, connecting equations to graphs part 2. So we're going to look at this graph here. And what do you notice and what do you wonder here? So what do we notice about this point right here? This 5, 10.
It's on the line.
It's on the line. So 5, 10 is on the line. Okay. So what does that mean if it's on the line?
That's the slope.
Not quite the slope, but it could be a solution to the equation. How would I get the slope from using that point?
What's the question?
How would I get to the slope from using 5, 10?
Would it like go over and then go over something?
Okay. Where's the next intersection that is easy for me to see on the line?
916.
9, 16. Is that an intersection in the line?
No.
No.
It's 114.
114? That's on the line?
Oh, so you have to pick what's on the line?
1 on the line. Pick a
2
point.
over 10. 210.
2, 10. So if I go over 2, up 10, that's on the line?
Or 10 over 2.
10. So over 10, up 2. That's on the line.
210 is on the line.
10, 2 is on the line. Okay, so what would my slope be here? How many did I go down?
10.
Down 5.
I went down 5?
You went down 4.
Down 4.
And then over.
Are you sure it's 4?
And you went over.
What is it counting by on the left?
Over 8.
What?
8.
8. So we went down 8. How many did we go right?
5.
5. Is my slope positive or negative?
Positive.
Are you sure about that?
It's negative.
Why is it negative?
Because it's going downward.
Because it's going downward. What were you going to say? The same thing. Okay, so if I'm going down, is that positive or negative?
Negative.
Okay, so we can say negative 8. And if I'm going right, is that positive or negative?
Positive.
Okay, a negative divided by a positive is a
Negative.
negative. So we will have negative 8 over 5 as our slope. That wasn't quite where I was wanting to go with that, but you said slope, so we did it. So if I look at the point 114, is that a solution to our equation?
No.
Okay, will it be more or less than?
Not a solution?
Will 114 be more or less than a solution to the equation?
More than. Less than.
It's going to be less than because it's below the line.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so 114 is not a solution.
And 916 is more than.
So it would be less than, or just less. And then 916 is also not a solution because it's what?
More than.
More than. What do you think this situation tells us about? We have sugar and flour. What do you think it tells us about?
the amount you need for every.
Could be, yeah. So like for every pound of flour, I need about 16.5 pounds of sugar.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're making with that and why they would need so much sugar for a pound of
Sugar cookies.
sugar cookies. It could be.
Cake?
Could be a cake.
Very.
But you need a lot of flour for cake. You need a lot of flour for sugar cookies too. You don't need as much sugar. They got to be making some sort of frosting or like icing.
Do you bake? Is that how you know that information?
Yes, I bake a lot. I like to bake.
Why
All right.
did you become a facts teacher?
Because my degree's in chemistry.
That's right.
Okay, part of linear equations. For each equation, identify the slope and y-intercept of its graph. So let's look back up here at this one. We already did our slope. Slope is here. What's our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is 10. Where does our line intersect the y-axis? Which one's the y-axis?
The sugar.
The sugar. So where does our line hit that axis?
18.
18. What would my equation be from my slope and my y-intercept for this equation? Or for this line? What is slope? What's the letter that represents slope?
Isn't it like y equals mx plus b?
So that's my equation I'm going to go off of. So we have y equals mx plus b. Is slope my m or my b?
B.
Y.
No.
M.
It's our m. So what is my y-intercept?
B.
18.
Yep, it is b and it is 18. So my equation up here would be y equals negative 8/5 x plus b. So that's what this line up here represents. So y equals negative 8/5 x plus, oh, I put plus b, plus 18. Let's change that to be our number. Okay, so down here on number 1, I'm going to put m and I'm going to put b. So m is my slope. My y-intercept is b. So what is my slope in equation 1? What is my m? 3. What is my y-intercept?
8.
8.
Positive or negative?
Negative.
Why do I keep the negative?
Because it's
The
important.
equation signs before it.
Because it's attached. All right, number 2. What is my slope?
10.
2.
2. Why is it 2?
I just did change places, so the slope is always the number with the x attached.
Right, slope is always the number with the x attached. Write that down if you need to remember that. Always the number with the x attached. Okay, so what is my y-intercept?
10.
10. All right, number 3.
The fraction is
The fraction is what?
m.
M. So what fraction am I going to put there?
What for the 1? No, x over 2. Oh, yeah, x over 2.
Don't include the x.
So 2.
What would be on the top with the 2? What is there that we can't see? A 1. So it's going to be a 1/2 is my slope. So what is my y-intercept?
1.
1. All right, number 4. Is this in slope-intercept form?
No.
No. How do I get it in slope-intercept form?
Draw a line.
Draw a line. We can do that. You don't have to if you don't need to. It's okay, either way. What do I do with the 1?
Subtract it.
Subtract it. Because that's what's keeping me from being in slope-intercept form, because I need my y to be isolated. So we have y equals, what are we going to get on the right side of our equation?
8x.
No. Why can I not combine those two terms?
Because the other one doesn't have an x.
Because the 1 does not have an x, so you cannot combine those terms. So what is my equation going to be?
Y equals 9x
9x
plus 1.
minus 1. So what's my slope?
The slope is negative.
9.
No, 9x.
Okay, the slope is 9. My y-intercept is?
-1, -1.
Okay. Number 5. We have this equation. Is this in slope-intercept form?
Yes. No.
I need to do something else first before I can
Distributive property.
distribute. What am I distributing?
The 1/3.
The 1/3. So we're going to take the 1/3 and we're going to distribute it to everything in the parentheses. What is 1/3 times 9x? Don't get your calculator out. You should be able to do this in your head.
How?
So 1/3 of 9 is 3. We'll keep our x attached to it because the x is still there. So what's going to be 1/3 of 12?
4.
4. What is our slope?
Y equals 3x plus 4.
Is
That's 3x.
x part of my slope?
No, well, it's going to be 3.
It's going to be 3. The x just tells me where my slope is, right? So our b or our y-intercept is 4. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the next part. That may be on the next page for you, it may not. I don't remember.
No, it's not. Wait, the 11.1? Yeah, it's not on the next page.
Okay, so we're going to rewrite these. So we're going to rewrite each quotient as a sum or a difference. So, let's see here. What is 4x divided by 2? 2 what?
2x.
2x. What is negative 10 divided by 2?
5. Negative 5.
Negative 5. Excellent job. Okay, number 2. What is 1 divided by negative 2?
Wait,
Leave-
one.
no.
25.
Leave it as a fraction.
No, it's 2. Wait.
Leave it as a fraction. What's 1 divided by 2?
1 divided by 2 is just 2. Or 1.
It's just 1/2.
Anything
Oh,
divided by
my
1 is just 1.
1.5.
Is it positive or negative?
See that?
1.5 is not the same as 0.5.
Wait, no, would it be negative? Wait, 1
It is negative.
1/2 and 1.5 aren't the same thing?
You're saying 1/2 and 1.5. 1/2 is 0.5.
Oh,
So no, these are not the same.
okay, sorry.
All right. What is negative 50x divided by negative 2?
Negative.
Negative
No,
25.
it'd be 25. It'd be positive.
25 what?
X.
X. It's positive 25x. There we go. Okay. What do I do? What do you think I need to do first over here? Distribute. Let's distribute this. And I'll zoom back out a little bit so you can still see that.
And then 15.
Ah, what's 5 times 10?
15. 50.
50.
What? Oh, yeah, I could be up to time.
All right. Now let's do 5x divided by 25.
5.
Does that go into 25?
It's just 5 to pretty sure the X.
But there's so it'd be 5x.
So if I have 5x over 25, 5 goes into 25 enough times for it to be a 5 on the top by itself. How do I get to 25? What are my multiples of 25?
25, 50.
No. What do I multiply together to get 25?
5 and 5.
5 and 5. There's not. Oh, what's my other option? I only have 2 options for 25.
I don't know these
4
answers.
and 6.
2?
No.
That's a lot of math.
25, you have 5 times 5, or you have 1 times 25.
Oh.
Those are your 2 options. There's only 2 options for 25. Okay. So, if I change this bottom part right here to be 5, I'm going to put a dot for multiplication, 5 times 5. How many of those 5s on the bottom can I get rid of from the 5 on the top? 1. I can take out this one and this one. So I'm left with x over 5.
Wait, why did we take it out?
Because it's like saying 5 over 5. So if I have, let's just put it over here. If I have 5 over 5, what does that equal to?
1.
1. So I can take that away because I have 1. But I'm left with the 5 on the bottom on the right because there's still a 5 in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is anybody super duper confused?
No.
We're good?
Yeah.
Awesome. What is 50 divided by 25?
2.
2. There we go.
Wow, that's great.
All right.
Oh my God.
That one looks hard. What is negative 1/5 x divided by 2?
Divided by. Didn't you say like to do? I forgot.
What do you do whenever you're dividing a fraction?
Wait, keep changing it.
Ooh. Keep change. What?
Him does? Do you guys do that?
I think everybody does that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep change flip. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I remember that. Never mind. Actually, never mind. I don't know. It was something we did a long time ago. It just came to my brain.
That is whenever, I believe, if I remember correctly, that is whenever you're dividing by a fraction.
Oh.
So we could say this is a fraction. We could say this is 2 over 1.
And then you could do the keep change. Yeah.
And then you could do keep change flip, and you could do negative 1/5 times 1 over 2.
Oh. Okay.
So what's 1 times 1?
1.
What's 5 times 2?
5 times 10.
Okay, so we get negative 1/10.
Is that the answer?
That's the first term.
Wait, so we actually had to put a 1 under it?
You can do it like that, or you can know that when you're dividing by a whole number, you just multiply the denominator.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Because I was thinking, like, can't you put, like, a 1 under it or, like, above it?
You can put the 1 under it like that. So what is 5 divided by 2? Does that divide evenly?
No.
No. So we're just going to leave it as a fraction. So we're going to have 5 halves. And I forgot to put my x in there. And that's my final answer. All right. Whew. Here are 2 graphs that represent situations you've seen in earlier activities. This was something we probably would have done last semester. So, the first graph represents A equals 450 minus 20t, which describes the relationship between gallons of water in a tank and time in minutes. Where on the graph can we see the 450? Where's 450 on this graph over here?
On the y-intercept.
Okay, so y-intercept or y-axis. I was going to say, we could say it's on the y-axis. Specifically on the graph where we see that number, that means that that's where, in that equation, that means it's our y-intercept. We can see on our graph up here that that's where that is. So we have that 450. Where can we see the negative 20? Is that one very easy? We don't have a negative there. What is the negative 20 in this equation?
In time.
Okay. If I say y equals mx plus b, the difference here is we have an a and a t. What is negative 20?
Slope.
Slope.
Oh, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Okay. It's the slope. So if we went down and let's see, our best intersection, I'm going to say is this one right here. So we go down, let's see, we go down 200 and we go to the right 12, right? No, 10. All right, so 200, negative 200, because we went down, divided by 10 equals negative 20. So what do these numbers mean in this situation? I think we kind of already did that, so I'm going to go ahead and skip it, because you know that the 450 is the, what is it?
The y-intercept.
The y-intercept. And the negative 20 is the slope. All right, the second graph represents 6x plus 9y equals 75. It describes the relationship between the pounds of almonds and figs and the dollar amount Claire spent on them. Suppose a classmate says, I am not sure the graph represents 6x plus 9y equals 75. Because I don't see 6, 9, or 75 on the graph. How could you show your classmate that the graph indeed represents this equation? Oh, hey. So how would you show your classmate that the graph represents this equation? What would we need to do to this equation? I'm going to do this over here on the side. Solve it for what? What do I need to do? Draw a line. We can do that. Now what do I need to do?
Now you need to subtract 9.
Are you sure about that?
No,
What equation do I need to be trying to get?
Oh, so then I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
If I want it in slope-intercept form, what's the easiest thing for me to move to get it closer to this equation? The 6x. So we're going to subtract 6x from both sides. Then we're going to get 9y equals, what's going to be on the right side? Why not? Why can I not?
75 doesn't have an x.
Because 75 does not have an x.
So
75 minus 6x. Or we could put negative 6x plus 75. We can't combine those because one term has an x and the other does not. What do I do now to isolate my y?
subtract 6x from 9.
How do I get the y by itself?
Right.
Mm-mm.
The 9 and 75?
How do I get rid of the 9 that's attached to the y?
Don't you have to like just
Subtracting 9 from both sides.
Not subtracting.
divide it?
You divide it. Why do you divide it?
Because you do.
Because the 9 is multiplied by the y, so we have to divide it to get rid of it, to make it a 1. So we have 75 divided by 9.
9 times 5.
X divided by 9. What is 6 divided by 9? Does that go evenly?
No.
Okay. So how would I simplify that fraction? What does that simplify to be? What number goes into both?
3.
3. So how many times does 3 go into 6?
2.
How many times does 3 go into 9?
3. 2 thirds.
Okay. What's my y-intercept?
2 thirds.
Is that attached to the x? What's my y-intercept?
Oh. I'm doing it.
Which one's my b?
You're 8 over 1/3.
8 and 1/3. Is that where my y-intercept is?
No.
On the second graph?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and then my slope, is it 2/3? Down is a negative 2/3, so down 2 and to the right 3.
Yes.
So if I zoom in here, I want to look at a point that is on the line because it's easier, so I can say I go down 1, 2, so negative 2, and then I go to the right 1, 2, 3, and that's a positive 3, so that's negative 2 over 3. So yes, that does represent that, and that is how you would show a classmate. All right, last part, I believe. So slope match. We're going to match each of the equations with the slope and y-intercept of its graph. All right, so let's see here. Let's pick, all of these you have to do work on. So if you are, let's see here. I'm going to do the first one. I want A day evens and B day to do odds. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my equation in slope-intercept form. I'm going to put a reminder up here that it's y equals mx plus b. So I want to isolate my y. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. So negative 4x plus 3y equals 3. If you need to draw your line, draw your line. We're going to add 4x to both sides. Then we're going to get 3y equals 4x plus 3. We're going to divide by 3 on both sides because I know that 3 is multiplied by y. So we're going to get y equals, we're going to have 4/3 x because 3 does not go evenly into 4. And then we have 3 over 3 is 1. So my y-intercept is 0, 1. So that means I have these two options. Then I'm going to look at my slope and see that it is 4/3, so it's B. So 1 is B. Somehow connect those or put like this is 1 or put over here on 1, put B. All right. Let's see here. I think we're going to skip the are you ready for more. Make sure you do your practice problems, and I'll see you in class.